I created this collage as a contemplation on the course concepts of ecology without nature, the enclosure of nature, and the ecological mesh. In the left corner, a human silhouette is cut out of a regional map. This image is designed to represent the anthropocentric view of nature as something out there, to be mapped and conquered rather than understood. The map is evidence of nature in a frame, categorized into its individual parts, such as creeks, lakes, and mountains. We create nature in this way to make it more consumable for us. It's easier to look at a map of the land and point out the natural features as opposed to living among and with them. At the same time, the map is inside our heads. Ultimately, it is only our conceptualization of nature, and so it is not real. We are part of the natural world, and the distinction is imagined through an anthropocentric perspective. The leaves further this point. Each leaf is textured with fingerprints, representing the reality of ecology without nature. We not only impact the features of the natural world, we are intricately intertwined with it. Our bodies and our minds are natural, as demonstrated by the similarities in our fingerprints to the texture of leaves. The patterns of our own form connect us to the features of the natural world. However, the word classification, pasted over the eye of the human silhouette, represents the common human perspective of categorizing nature as separate from ourselves. The skyscrapers and Arc de Triomphe on the right side of the collage demonstrate the enclosure of nature as human ambition and advancement grows. Our architecture reaches into the sky and compartmentalizes it, blocking out the sun. In some ways, urban landscapes epitomize the concept of nature in a frame. Green spaces exist within city blocks to bring our conceptualization of nature back into the landscape. Even as we insist that nature is separate from ourselves, we long for it. We build these cityscapes and these monuments ever higher simply because we can. When we consider ourselves separate from the ecological mesh, we do not have to consider the consequences of our actions on the world around us. Like Victor Frankenstein and Prometheus, our knowledge continues to be our destruction. Yet, these human-made landscapes are still part of the ecological mesh, even as they are monuments to the concept of human superiority. The tree in the bottom left of the collage embodies this idea. Human architecture and creation, although distinctly different from the wild patterns of the trees, must still be viewed as part of the ecological mesh if the concept is to mean anything. The building and the tree entwine into one image to emphasize this point. The animate and the inanimate impact each other, and although each scene appears distinct to us, they are connected, parts of one ecology. Finally, the silhouetted family overlaid across the sunset emphasizes that humans are part of the ecological mesh, and our presence is felt even if we remove ourselves from it. Nature is incomplete without us, so therefore our conceptualization of nature is incomplete. As I was creating this piece, I considered Blake's poems like The Schoolboy, in which children are depicted as being closer to understanding their connection to the natural world than adults. They have not yet been indoctrinated into the ideology of separation and superiority. Therefore, the child's head is lit up by the sun. The ink blot stain in the center of the collage is there to represent all that is wrong with our picture of nature. The ideology of separation and the ignorance of the ecological mesh to enable commodification, exploitation, and pollution of natural resources. This stain on our relationship with ecology is considered justified because we view nature as something for us to use rather than as an ecosystem that we are deeply connected to. This art piece synthesizes my ideas regarding ecology without nature.